Wake up, everybody. We're back here on Sunday for another beautiful day of college COD. We are sending a couple more teams to land in San Antonio, Texas, and we cannot be more excited to be here. We're kicking it off with the banger series before we dive on in. My name is Dandra. We want to have the duo here for this first series. We'll not be able to do it alone without my man Connie. Connie, how you doing this morning?
Wonderful, Dan. Thanks for having me, and lovely to be with you on the grandest stage of them all, the CCL playoffs. And the key theme for this matchup, unexpected, to say the least. Seeds mean absolutely nothing when you throw the two names of Buckeye CoD and Marshall University in the ring for a potential place in a qualification match coming up. I mean, in terms of the run these two teams have been on, we'll mention it throughout the broadcast and little drabs here and there, but let's just say they have worked their asses off to get to this point and showcase their talent. It truly is a spectacle to behold.
No, there's a lot of stuff to talk about with these two teams. Let's talk about a little bit about the head-to-head with these two teams, though. Buckeye CoD coming in with a really impressive record of 13-1. Marshall University a little bit more on the lackluster side, 10-4 as far as these two teams are concerned. But take a look here when it comes to the hard point, the S&D, and the control. The thing that's jumping out to me, Connie, it seems like to me Marshall University through this season, they just had a lot more of their series go the distance, right? When you kind of look at this hard point record, at this S&D, at this control, they have more games played there, which means a lot more of their games went to those game 4s, went to those game 5s, right? So hopefully you have a lot of reps underneath your belt. I'm looking at Marshall University specifically being 10-7 on their hard point. Feels like they went to a lot of map 4s here, and I wonder if some of those map 4s resulted in that 10-4 record. But other than that, pretty similar across the board. Otherwise, you know, 10-3, 10-5 for the S&D, 10-2, 11-3 for the control. So not a lot to glean here on maybe anybody who has one mode that they really favor.
Absolutely, and the best comparison I can make for Buckeye and Marshall, despite their records, is their recent form. When you look at Marshall University, especially a lower bracket run, they're currently 9-1 in map count, whereas Buckeye CoD, I think, was well similarly matched around about 12-3. So they are both teams in prime form, and although Marshall has more reps on paper and more extended series, it goes to show one thing: Marshall can go the distance but also have their finger on the pulse of the game, meaning that Buckeye CoD, they're very used to coming in and smashing teams and finishing up the series in 20 minutes. Are they used to the deep waters? Are they used to the extensive rounds? That's the question that needs to be answered, where a team like Marshall have been there and they have more experience and more nerves in those situations. That definitely could happen.
No, it definitely could. And I feel like this map set that we have between these two teams will be really fun to watch when we kind of look at the strengths and weaknesses of these two squads. We're going to kick it off, of course, with none other than a protocol hardpoint. To me, this will be a real sort of test of how are your ARs feeling? Can your subs get in the mix early, right? It's no surprise here on protocol where it's all going to be about who can hit those routes, who can hit those timings and flanks to be able to hold down, and looking at some of the subs to really come online for like some of those P2 holds specifically. Of course, your ARs, you want to be holding those grandmas, those top trip side, and just watching over the entire rest of the map. So a lot of opportunity here for both squads to come out and really show us what the rest of the series could hold. But after we make it through that protocol, it is a double hacienda in the search and destroy and the control, a map that really relies on fundamentals and also kind of allows some of your role players to really slot into their roles in a couple different areas, specifically in that search and destroy and the control. We know holding top mid is just absolute of utmost importance that are there, but while your subs are running down through secret, through you, and on that outside line across rock, you know, these are the areas you're going to be looking at some of your players to really come on through. And if we make it to a map 4 and map 5, well, it's going to be a red card hard point, which if you manage to take the protocol hard point but drop the next two, you're probably going to be feeling pretty good about that red card. And then if we make it to that game 5, it is going to be an absolute mix fest on Dealership. Corn and I, we got to watch Dealership in the second S&D map last night in a series, and it was really interesting. It feels like on that Dealership map, you either absolutely know what's going on or you have no idea. But taking a look at this map set, Connie, I'm curious to get your opinion on how you think this might, you know, kind of fall out for both of these squads.
I mean, the biggest strikeout for me is there's no vault involved, so it's a very moderately paced and nice tempoed setup, but every single map up to red card is very AR dominant, and the ARs have to be very micro in the sense of tempo, positioning, but also spawns, because the punishment of getting flipped on these maps is far greater than a vault or a skyline. The distance to cover is very good. But at the same token, they have to understand that every micro adjustment could be crucial to getting 2 or 3 kills to open up a huge hole. That's why protocol, to open things up, you're asking a lot. But Buckeye, CoD, and Marshall, this is their final test before the big grand huzzah in the next series.
Well, let's kick it off here on the protocol. It's going to be action with a nice nade to claim first blood here. As you start to see on the breakoff already some members getting cut on down. This is going to be Chut here from the Buckeye CoD at the top. Looking to manage to hold this one on out. As Gimby going to be the one to kind of just soak some of this time here on P1. And I like what Enigma is doing. Flying on through that other side. You get somebody off P2 and you're trying to push on towards this back for maybe some of these spawns right now. And that's exactly what they're going to do. You might be able to hit a nice little timing here.
Buckeye CoD done really well to soak up the initial time and hold for scrap. Marshall already down 26 points, have to guarantee themselves positions on P2. Action is the most proactive so far with one last 1v1 inside of New to secure positions for his team. Spawns though in Buckeye's favor for New, and scrap time means they can start a beautiful chain, a sequence of events where Marshall and their spawns, it's very difficult to match. It feels like a constant 4v3, but that lovely wipe there from Marshall is going to open up a huge gap. Buckeye spawn on that northeast side of the map, and now things are going to be very dicey on P2.
Yeah, you really have to try and hold that one on down. Juicy almost doing a great job of just finding a nasty 2-piece to answer on back after the rest of your team gets caught on out. Paralysis though, mid tower will lose that fight to Juicy. You hate to see it. Stuski though going to be the one trying to look here from the top. Plaid, and well, it's rope side. Enigma, he's going to slide out, find one. The rest of the 2 your teammates go on and down. So you hold a lot of this P2. You kind of get your name back on into it. A little bit of scrap time right now for Buckeye CoD on the P1. You are trying to poise yourselves up here for the P3, and it's Enigma laying in wait. Will cut down Paralysis that's there. That's a huge 2-piece to secure this on transition. But you do have a little bit of spawn outs right now. It's going to be on to Juicy here in the back to try and answer on through. It looks like you're at least able to find one, but it's a kind of a tussle here on this P3.
I know Marshall are losing their exit gunfights as well, meaning Buckeye are going to create a beautiful funnel through the north side of the map onto the hill, and it's going to be a 3v2 overload. But wow, Marshall, they're forcing their way through the front. The trades are equal, but more Marshall players have dropped from the own team kill. So this could be now Buckeye soaking up this 20 seconds off initial, playing for scrap time here too. They've really posted up on a good spawn system. No flips potential for Marshall in this case. They're falling from Gimby, who's locked off the front door. Shut's trying to find a way through the back just to make sure his team have those spawns confirmed. And look at this gap right here. A comfortable 45 points in favor of Buckeye.
Yeah, it's Marshall winning some huge gunfights, but the Buckeye CoD are doing a fantastic job of really just winning those key gunfights to then let you convert that into the time. So if you are Marshall, you have to maybe play a little bit more together, realizing you have those moments to overload the point and be able to secure some of this time. Alex Card down here on the bottom side towards the server is able to work with Paralysis a little bit, who's going to drop on and down as you're now going to control this. So you have a nice little break here. If you are Marshall University, a hold here would get you right back on into the game. Juicy might have something else to say about it. Some great pre-fires coming on through. We'll slide across. That'll be some great info for the rest of the team, though. Gimby not able to slide on forward as the crosses are set up already. So Marshall, great job holding this down here in the server room. I love this. Paralysis is going to move on forward. Watch that drop.
And what we're seeing from Buckeye so far on their first break attempt, they didn't really up to throw any utility here, Dan. They just got the guns and barrels up, slide cancels straight in through the front door. Marshall had, of course, positions and lots of time to collect themselves ready for a big break attempt, and it's given them 33 seconds gifted here. Buckeye's lead now has come down to a simple 13-point gap, and when you look towards New, we're going back on a full brand new set of rotations. Buckeye have put one player on the hill and 3 dotted around mid for every single nook and cranny where Buckeye can try and get through. But Enigma's first blood there on the break allows a lot of room now for not just an extension of Buckeye's arm, but Marshall have to start finding form and not really panic so much on his attempts, because this lead still doable.
Yeah, definitely. The Buckeye CoD, they got to look at that first rotation and realize it was only on that last hill that you really let them get back on in it. So I think just do exactly what we did on the first rotation, but now maybe kind of solidify it up there to be able to come on into that last final hill. Do not let Marshall get back on into it. So here on this P1, it's some solid time for the Buckeyes. Still go up about 50 points already, and Juicy will get found out towards that heli side. 3 dead on the map for Buckeye. Marshall doing a great job. They clear out the point. They're going to gain some of the scrap time, and you got to start putting your eyes towards P2 because Stuski, he's already made this read, found one at the top, finds another one at the bottom. A huge win from Stuski. That'll let Alex Carr come on over, help out the squad. You're already in this point.
Yes, but look at Marshall's position. They've got 1 player on hill, and Buckeye have close spawns. So a simple retake will be the next call of order in the sequence of this hill. And it's a big 42 seconds and a lot of time that they can take away from Marshall from a fantastic initial. But look at their spread. They're losing players in mid, so they're forced to go underground, meaning the pressure onto the point is going to come through one channel. But Buckeye are just allowing a nice bunker setup here, ready for trades. They're not being too dynamic, and that's the right decision to make in a hill where really holding your HP and putting a trophy down gets you an extra 10 seconds, gets you a 60-point lead. As Marshall, they will get scrap time on this hill, and 2 players floating over towards new with spawns in their favor sets up a really tasty money hill.
We'll spawn on through, and I like this. Juicy just trying to get some of those tags on in. You'll get confirmation on Action. You got Chud in the back trying to swing on through there as well, but Action is actually going to be able to get the turn and burn. Juicy's there for the trade, and you're now just kind of running amok in the back, and you are Juicy with a huge 1, with a huge 2. Can you find the 3rd in the top? You don't even need to. Just lay in wait. Let that HP regen. Rest of the team's going to flood on through. A huge opening right now for Juicy to be able to help get the team back on in. And it's a great setup right now for Buckeye CoD. Juicy yet again on a 5 spree right now. Only needs a couple more for that streak. You'd love to see it. Stuski not able to make it happen. So Buckeye CoD, they just absolutely slam through the front, and then they managed to hold this point. It is going to be a lot to look for, and I like this. Gibby already making his way down towards this bottom side. Not going to let Marshall have the opportunity to set up like they did on that last rotation.
Buckeye put some trophies down already on new, and that's the ideal situation when you're taking bunker. Again, it's really a hill where you want your guns up rather than utility thrown straight away, because again, where you get caught off and broken is just from timing the slide cancel and then looking in the corners. That is a lovely take from Marshall. A nice 15 seconds in the bank account, and look at their positioning as well. They've stuck Alex Carr up top to make sure that the funnels are cleared. They've got players rotating around. That's Paralysis watching Elevator in front, but because of the positioning here, Buckeye can walk on in. Marshall a little bit too aggressive on this hill, and now it switches over to Buckeye CoD.
Yeah, and even if you don't manage to hold a lot of this point for that timing, what you've done is the exact work you need to do, and that is just get Marshall off the point. It's not always about just getting score for yourself. It's sometimes just denying the opportunity for your opponents to get scores as well. But with a break like that, the Buckeye CoD, if they hold this for 10 more seconds, they're only going to be 20 moments away from being able to take this map number 1, the hard point. Juicy running amok in the back line is, well, Gimby is here. We'll get found out on the P1. This has been where Buckeye CoD has really been able to find a lot of points. So if you are Marshall, you have to do your best to not let them get on in here. And so far, so good. Juicy with the Hellstorm is there. And oh no, it's map number 1, guys. It's our first series of the day. We can't already be taking bodies. You haven't even won the map yet. They're showing some confidence right now. Buckeye CoD, they're going to hold this P1 here, Connie, and I believe that is going to be map number 1 for them. Okay, one of these teams is feeling real good, buddy.
And it's Buckeye. Definitely Buckeye. I mean,
well, yes.
How would we break down the last 3 hills? I mean, Marshall, again, looked fantastic in bunker for the time where they were holding initial, but you mentioned it beforehand, it's about the stalling and contesting. Where Buckeye, they had the lead, didn't really seem to lose it. There were times when Marshall got close, but it's their comfortability to stall potential threats from Marshall. That's what really gave them the extra oomph and the escalation away from a really close match. You look at the numbers as well, and everyone's pretty much across the same board, and even Stevens, no one really stands out in the figures, but what really was impressive to watch, it comes down to how well Buckeye managed themselves, listened to the leadership calls, and adjusted on the fly. But in terms of watching the overall hill to hill, P3 I feel like was the most contested across all the sets that we saw in that map. And Buckeye realized right at the last minute, Marshall were just, again, very spread out, very isolated, and couldn't quite get a team hit together.
Yeah, it felt like a real combination of some solid fundamentals, but also bailout gunfights, right? And that's kind of what you like to see with a couple of these squads. We saw Juicy specifically on that P3, right? Being able to just kind of bust it on open himself, and then just from there is able just to really hold it on through. I mean, this graph is just insane to look at, Connie. At no point was Marshall University in the lead. They looked really good on that first P3 to P4, but then after that, it's just, they get absolutely stagnated. It's just a nice vertical line, nice solid amount of points from hill to hill from the Buckeye CoD. Just no opportunity for Marshall to get back on into this one. Really, I think this graph just summarizes exactly what we just saw.
I spotted a really good trend here as well, talking about the P3 where I said it was the most contested. Actually, the numbers say otherwise. If you look at the P3 on the first set and the second set, it's the largest gap for both of the Buckeyes. So that really was where their money was placed. I mean, the P4 was different for both sets. Marshall found a beautiful setup, and they got a lot of time in the first set, but so did Buckeye CoD in the second set rotation. So really, that was a hot potato, but the consistencies again lie in the mid rounds. That P3 for Buckeye gave them such a huge portion of control. And the P1s and P2s, Buckeye's switch up was allowing one person in hill and then 3 players roaming around mid to get the exits and call out the spawns of Marshall. So their attacks were nullified. Where it was so great in the first set, the second set, they were completely countered.
Yeah. I mean, if you are Marshall coming off of that hard point, I think you just have to maybe realize you got a little outgunned, you got a little out finessed, and that you kind of just have to brush it off, right? Because you still have a lot of series left to play here. You can't let this first opening hard point get to you, because, well, we're about to head on in to a Hacienda search and destroy. Now, that first pick, the protocol hard point, was OSU's pick, okay? So they're obviously feeling pretty solid on the map. Now you're coming into Marshall territory where they are picking this Hacienda. What has me worried here, Connie, though, is that if Buckeye CoD come out swinging here in the search and destroy on Hacienda, you're staying right here on Hacienda for the control. So I think this has me worried, you know, that it's kind of, because it feels to me if whoever takes his S&D might have a very strong opportunity to take the control, which if you are Marshall, then great. If you feel solid on this S&D, then you're able to go up in the series, you know, tie it up here on the S&D, go up in the control maybe. But if Buckeye CoD come out swinging in the search and destroy, I think it's not going to bode well as we get ready to move into the control there. A lot of stuff to take into consideration here, but search and destroy, Hacienda, it's a bread and butter that we call it. It is what every team should feel pretty comfortable on, no matter who you are. It's just a solid search and destroy map all around.
And for, well, Marshall's way back into the series, I think the biggest key to victory for me is listening to Paralysis's play calls and the whole team taking initiative off of every dynamic and every situation that presents itself. If Marshall get 3-0 up from 3 perfect calls from Paralysis, it creates this beautiful sense of comfort, but also they have the drive to keep it going. It's about, you know, complacency. S&D and Hacienda is so prone to complacency for teams wants to build a lead, and then the other team tends to find the counters and brings a score back even. We open up the break off though, both teams hit towards mid, bomb floats towards A, and overload for Buckeye straight over towards the site.
Suski, from you, we'll get some early shots, and I like this. It's a quick reposition, and you are just flying through, straight sprinting. Paralysis on this outside. Not able to find the kill, but it's going to be Buckeye CoD with the first blood. On to Stuski. So Enigma making that read, but Alex Carr kind of slipped through here, playing towards that top plat side. Action starting to maneuver around it. It's just a solid post-plant setup right now from Buckeye CoD. You are going to have a little bit of a trade come out here on the top. You're okay with that if you are Buckeye CoD. It's going to be Alex Carr in action in the 2v3. You've managed to gain control of the fences. That's a huge win. Action finds another one onto Enigma. It's just Juicy. In the 1v2, bomb starting to get diffused. You have an opportunity. Are you going to hit the timing? Is it enough? I don't think it is. Bomb does get diffused. So Marshall able to dismantle the Buckeye CoD post plant setup.
I know, and with a constant man down as well. I mean, Buckeye in the 4v3 created a very good setup as well. 3 on bomb, 1 floating through middle. And when I saw the trade go through as well in middle in a 2v3, Marshall and Alex Carr's positioning around fences was just perfectly timed. No one from Buckeye could info his position. But look over towards B this round. Marshall have completely countered the optimal strategy. They're going for an alternate approach here, smashing everyone over to a site.
Ooh.
Enigma's overloaded, and there's going to be no room for error.
Wait, Enigma, though. He wins a fantastic opening, but the rest of the Buckeyes will fall. It's going to leave Gimby in the 1v2, hoping that maybe you can get some damage in with that nade, but some trophies immediately coming out here in round number 2. They do a great job of countering, like you mentioned. I like this repositioning from Alex Carr right now. Let Paralysis look at that front. Alex, try and hold some of this back with Gimby. You might be able to find a timing here. Just going ahead.
It's tough for Gimby as well. Look at this right here. Paralysis and Alex Carr in a 2v1. The captain and the rookie. And look at their setup. They're wall to wall here, Dan.
Still trophies here. And that's going to be exactly the sound cue that Paralysis is looking for. So Gimby slides on out. Just really needs to do their best checking out these corners. You're maybe trying to go for some kills here. I don't know if it super matters, though. You don't even manage to get it. Pistol in hand. No, a little bit too late on the timing. But Marshall University to come out 2-0 right now. Not feeling too bad after that hard point. Making this S&D feel good.
They're really comfortable, even against the odds. Man disadvantaged. That round, they got the first blood drawn, but it was the overload on the north side of the map. All 4 players committed to getting a post plant on B, which can be viable in a 3v2, 2v1 situation. Usually the south side's a lot more safe and fences has more coverage. But they just did so well to get the advantage in place and a post plant setup, which was wall to wall, looking at every angle for the remaining player to slip out through the net. And now, Buckeye CoD 2-0 down. Look at their float this time. Marshall 4 stacked towards the north side of the map against Buckeyes 2, and it's an overload that's just so punishing.
Now you've been able to pin them back a little bit here. Alex Carr on the top rock. You can see there's just everybody slides on forward, but 3 of you get cut down. You're going to pay for that in Stuski. Last one alive, you're able to find one in Lambo, but that will definitely let the rest of Buckeye CoD, Chut and Enigma, know where you're coming from. But bomb will go down very quickly. Stuski now having to go for the wrap. This would be a great round to get on the board if you are Buckeye CoD, and it feels like maybe you have this read, or maybe you don't. As Skuski going to be able to catch Chut just mid-sprint. Door opens on up. It's a little bit too much of a loud noise. Immediate whip around. So Buckeye CoD, it got a little shaky there, Connie, but hey, you ice up when it matters. Enigma finds that last final kill you're looking for.
Stuski did pretty well. It was in a 1v3 after all the cards in the deck were thrown on the table. And I must have to give huge props for Buckeye, at least in this situation, to keep the composure. The isolations were clear for Marshall, but I feel like, again, Suski just let that final kill slip away from him. A simple gun up and a drop shot. You might have had a different story in a 3-0 start. But nonetheless, Marshall in charge, in the driving seat so far. Round number 4 to commence, and they again stick to their optimal 4-man unit strategy. Straight towards A this time. Buckeyes spread thin across the map.
You can see you're going to have a couple players just playing over towards that B side. Make this realization there's no hit incoming. So the immediate wrap on over towards the A site is bomb. Fast plant going on down, but Enigma hits a timing through you. Will cut action down off that bomb. A great way to get a first blood, but also stop the diffuse, or stop the planting rather, from happening. So right now, if you are Marshall University, you got to kind of back on up, reassess the strategy. For right now, it's Stuski who's been able to pick up the bomb. A little bit of a read as he takes some damage. As Chut here might be able to take the pistol out. Can you find this kill in 10? No, Paralysis reads it. A little bit of an overheat from the Buckeyes. Now into a 3v2.
Oh, Dan, these shoulders are gorgeous from Marshall. They're not overcommitting to a strategy, and they're keeping the man advantage there. I mean, even from the set names for both teams, neither team's getting any real information from the most crucial element of the utility in S&D right off the start. They're just going in blind. But Gimby, unfortunately, chicken jockeyed into a 1v3.
You have to get towards this site, though. You have to start getting that bomb down. It's there, an Enigma checks the B site, and unfortunately it just loses the 50-50. You can see the pre-games coming on in there saying, I think I hit a timing. I think they wrap B. They did not at all. And you throw a shoulder here, top window. It's just not enough. I feel like Gimby there needs a little bit more awareness, okay? You're playing alongside, thinks they've already managed to rotate on over to B, thinks he's hitting a timing, but reality is he's still actually a little bit too early. Maybe it's a slight moment of patience there. He might be able to catch a solid 2 in the back. They might not make that read. So Buckeye CoD do a great job of, I thought, kind of moving from one side to the other, maybe countering Marshall University. It's a quick first blood. You stop the bomb plant from happening, but patience is a virtue for Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall's focus has been pretty direct throughout the whole rounds we've seen so far. They haven't really missed an opportunity. If a sound cue comes in, they read the situation well and apply the appropriate protocol. But towards A this time around, the Setnays dodge Marshall, but they're going to have some heavy resistance from Buckeye. That first blood's drawn, 2 more in return, an instant 3v2 with Buckeye in the advantage.
Well, bomb will be down towards that A side, which has been cleared. So I'd love to see somebody just wrap back on over as a team. You can see Alex Carr and Nico. They are going to try and just play together here towards his top office side. Some great shots going down onto Chut. We'll have to back them on up. Bomb has been reclaimed, though, by Gimby. So just a little bit of wait out here. You got plenty of time on the clock. You don't have to do anything just yet. But getting a bomb down would be huge. My worry is, though, nobody's looking towards this top window just yet. So if you try and get that bomb plant, you could get found on out here. And this is just wraps on wraps from everybody.
And there's so much breathing room here for both teams. And they feel like now they should encounter someone. And it's so stressful as a player to identify your next move. And a huge mistake could open up at any given time. The pressure's mounting really large. But Buckeye's info into Marshall and vice versa. They don't have sight. And a run straight into the knife. And Juicy, the important advantage they need, a 2v1 and a post plant to wrap. Paralysis has to cover it.
Paralysis from the top side. Juicy with a knife. I don't think anybody really expected that, but yeah, you're going to get found on out. 30 seconds on the clock. Dipping on down. For the moment, it just kind of feels like it's going to be all about who can make these reads. If Nico can hit a timing, this could be huge. That's a great first one. Lets you know exactly where they are. You don't have a lot of time on your hands, though. Will hop the bomb. And it's Chut going on the outside wrap. Do you get here in time? You do. Tough spot right there for Nico. It's, do you try and maybe just immediately make that push over towards the arch to get that kill, or do you hop the bomb? And well, it looks like you make the decision to hop the bomb, and fortunately for you, Chut able just to make the read. It's a good timing.
And I feel like it's just tough rounds now for Marshall back to back. They're still coming into every single situation with full throttle, guns up, ready to swing. Well, I feel like Buckeye now just starting to plan the counter well. And you mentioned it, Dan, their timings are really improving now here in the mid game. So with Buckeye's positioning now, they're going to commit again to a very spread strategy, mainly towards B. There'll be 3 players, whereas Marshall converge and they want to create an overload again for that first blood.
Yeah, it's all 4 here towards the top side. Really nobody playing from Buckeye CoD here, but you're starting to see some movement already happen. Got 2 players still on the point. Action's going to go ahead, throw down the stun, back on up. But Gimby might have been able to make a read here. And yeah, it doesn't get anybody on the opening and just backs on up, plays the life. I love that play. You get information for the squad. You don't throw your life away just there. And now you can look to back on up here. I like this. Has made their way onto Platt. Breaks open the door, but 2 members still waiting in the office. Will catch you on down. That's going to be a first blood for Marshall University. Buckeye CoD had the opportunity to maybe get a first blood yet again. It just feels like a little bit of lack of patience coming up from the Buckeyes right now. I'd love to see them wait a little bit more.
And Marshall have really covered this bomb site well. Juicy's found an opening, but still the stack remains. No arrows are distracted from the task at hand, but the slides are just gorgeous from Buckeye. If they can find their way through, the overload switch is now to Marshall in this case. What can Stuski do? A 1v2. He spots the player on bomb, but he can't clear the second with the pistol. Chut's on a 5 spree right now. Sticks to defuse to tie it at 3-3, Dan.
Yeah, Chut played the ending of that round absolutely beautiful and exactly what you need to have happen. You see kind of Juicy pushes on out. There's a crossfire set on up there. He has some great shots on the player on towards Planter's side. Chut goes ahead, throws a shoulder. He's able to rip them on down. You have that player deeper in the back. It was going to be Stuski who is there. It is not able to get the kill onto Chut. Stuski rips the player defusing, but it doesn't matter. That's the exact timing that Chut was looking for. Still plenty of time on the clock to run on up and get the defuse. That's going to be Buckeye CoD off a huge round from Chut. 5 streak here will tie up the series.
And this now becomes quite an elevating moment for both teams. The question marks start appearing for strategy. You're now exploring different options. You already know beforehand Marshall's set play. This is the first round where they actually spread the map rather than commit to a 4. And Buckeye commit to the same idea, but they're hiding behind corners, dodging the set utility for the information. And I think Juicy wants to coordinate a hit alongside Gimby to get this control.
Gimby on the Lambo side. Some shots down on range. There's only 2 members here. After those shots, we'll go on a nice little leisurely swim way on the outside right now, but it gets red here. Action with the PDW. We'll be able to get in some shots, but that's going to allow Juicy to move on forward. You whip around the rock. You find one. You got another player through mid. The shot's coming on in. They're just not there. Oh, what we thought maybe was a weird play might actually come out in your favor here. But on the backside, it's Action who's going to slide on forward, find one. Gimby needs to be here for the trade. Finds one, runs away, plays for his life. Stuski versus Gimby. Bomb hasn't gone down yet. It's just waiting on B. You got to start making some moves right now.
Letting the game breathe for Stuski. It's wall to wall. He has the timing. Marshall, the weaponry advantage and the sight advantage. It's going to be 4-3. Wow, that was a round, especially from Stuski's position, where a lot of pressure was on. But in the same sentence, I feel like both teams fumbled quite a few big errors on the north side of the map. But Bomb being down, especially where we needed to see kills from Marshall, and then getting an instant 2v1, Buckeye almost scraped away with that round. So, again, you have to thank these opportunities. And now as we look towards a strong round number 8 from the prior ones, look at where Buckeye are going. 2-2 split across the map. As the set nades go high, will information come out for either team?
Well, Marshall, fast movement here. Action's going to be the one to try and clear out you. Stuski, do you make this read onto Chut? Chut, Jackal PDW in hand. I don't know if you maybe saw just a little bit of that cape. I think maybe you did. You see the nade fly in over the top as well. So Chut will fly on forward, activate. Another player slides on forward. Alex Carr will be able to make the trade, but it's just going to be players from both teams fallings that will lead us into Nico being in the 1v2. Shots in the window. It's just not enough. Buckeye CoD, they definitely got a little bit weird in that last round and got paid for it, but here, nice, simple strategy. You win the key gunfights. You hit your timings. You now even up this map into a 4-4. Both teams really firing on all cylinders here in the search and destroy. Buckeye CoD, they definitely want to be able to take this map. They would love going out 2-0 in this series.
Buckeye are much more comfortable in the afterplant situations. Gimby especially. Ignore his numbers across the map, but he actually makes a lot of the clear reads so far for the team. It just depends now upon coordination. Enigma has an RC car, sticking in spawn, sending it down south, meaning an overload in the north side of the map for Marshall. Could be similar to Pride. They have information as well from the stun.
Oh, it's another stun that will land. Lets them know there's at least 2 here. Followed up by a nade. RCXD still just going on a trip right now. It is Action good for 2. Chut answers back with a 2-piece of his own. So that's 2 members from each team dying as Enigma still driving this RCXD around here. Somehow does not get the kill onto Action. I think you at least get some damage though, which is all you needed. Alex now in the 1v2 between Gimby and Enigma. I don't know if they're making this read towards this outer side. Alex Carr needs to move their way through the ramp side.
It's a great wrap.
You might find the timing here. You might find the player. If you check the corner, the shots get a little bit too wide. You don't commit to the slide out chow. It gets answered on back. Buckeye CoD, they feeling like they found their footing here, Connie. They put us potentially on map point.
And that's a wrap from Marshall. That was perfect. It could have got 2 players, just a nervous, shaky shots. They were not the answer. And Buckeye on map point for 2-0 in this series. And again, what's on the line for both teams? It's a slot in the qualification for land match. So yeah, Buckeye right now riding high. They were down at the start of the S&D, but now in the lead on map point. They send 4 players. Here's a unit. 1 through middle, 3 through north. Marshall are more evenly spread, but their first blood goes to Stu.
Yeah, Stuski finds a huge first blood on Chut to open it up, and Chut's been just such a superstar player in this map. You hate losing him this early. Still an opportunity, though. We've seen Buckeye CoD come back from these down scenarios, but Marshall, they're actually going to go ahead, back up a little bit. Buckeye gets a little bit antsy. They start pushing on forward. Nico will get back on down. And just for right now, Marshall understanding they still have plenty of time. They don't need to overheat. They don't need to make a silly mistake here and lose this map in a 6-4 fashion. They want to push this to a round 11. They're starting to maneuver on their way through. Juicy on this top side, though, I feel like is maybe making some clears on out. So get towards this 30 seconds, though. This is when you kind of have to start moving. You have to dedicate what is the game plan. And right now, Enigma, he's been able to spot some over towards this Lambo side. You got a nade that will drop on and down. Action gets some good shots on the tail away. But do you manage to find anything? Nico slides on forward, finds Enigma. That's another huge kill. It's another trade. It's just Gimby in the 1v3. Can you do it? Hop on up. You're playing through mid. You're looking at bomb. Nobody's there, and it's just a 2x2 that will not let you win that one. Marshall University, they even it on up. They send us to a round 11.
Oh, beautiful work from Marshall. From the first blood, Stu opened up the calling card, and the team just stuck together. No one really separated from the person next to them. That's really the winning formula, I think, for Marshall. We see it for a lot of the rounds where they stick as a 4 at the start and they remain together. Regardless of trades, they just want control of the bomb. That's their key strategy for every single defensive round, and they're going to be back in their home territory again. So, what can the break-off look like here in the big old round 11? This time, Paralysis, holding spawn, probably an RC car in hand. 3 from Marshall go north, meaning an RC car on the south side might be the set piece from Marshall.
You hear that RCXD? It's going to go ahead. It'll clear out the fences, but that'll be the information you're looking for. And you can see you have a couple members already moving their way on over from Marshall University. Got one player playing down below you in a secret. That's Juicy. Hoping that maybe you come on into his trap. Action might be the only player that's there. You come out by 2. That's a great way to make it happen. His Chut slides on out, finds Stuski, but the trades are in from Action. You got 2 players jumping out the window here. It's a 3v2. Bomb starting to get diffused, but Enigma with a huge timing onto Alex Carr. Action hits the window, drops down to 43 HP. It's a little bit of a fadeaway. Gimby's there for the trade. It's up to Nico, the 2v1. You're going to go ahead. You're going to push you. You find one, but you don't have the time. You have to find the kill. Where's it going to go? It's nowhere near. It's not going to be there. It's just a bomb read from Gimby. You'll get the final kill. Doesn't matter. Bomb explodes. Buckeye CoD take the Hacienda Search and Destroy.
Oh, what a tough 1v1 for Marshall. Paralysis had the world on his shoulders, especially after that emphatic round 10. Oh, it was just Buckeye CoD winning the crucial trades in the mid-round. Action saw the player in window. He thought if he got that kill, we'd see the 2v1 swing. We'd see Marshall in control. However, it really relied upon positioning. Paralysis had to be over proactive to find the last player. Imagine seeing the barrel of your enemy at 4 seconds on the clock. It's just heartbreaking, and it's 2-0 to Buckeye CoD. Control up next. We could see a 3-0. We could see a very, very tight series, but I feel like this is where things start to chop and change a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Marshall really came out swinging in the first couple rounds here, and it was looking really solid. But you can kind of see where basically Buckeye, they have that round where they're able to lose the first blood, but they come back and get the full elimination. They then have another round where they lose the first blood. They get the diffuse. Like, I actually think looking at this, I need to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So really, of the rounds that are there, Marshall University had the first bloods in more rounds than not. Only one more round they were able to have it, but Buckeye CoD just feels like they were able to find those wins, really able, firing on all cylinders to be able to take some of these rounds. I mean, this is just an insane score chart to look at. A really good game for Buckeye, I think, to answer on back here in the Hacienda to be able to take the search and destroy. They're playing from behind a little bit, able to take that map number 2, but has me a little bit worried. How are we feeling on that Hacienda control? That's coming up right here after this break, everybody. We're going to go ahead. We'll be right back. But before we go, I want to remind everybody, head on over to scuff.co/collegecod so you can take a look at some of the fantastic products Scuff has. Scuff, of course, the exclusive controller partner of College COD that we have coming on in here. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, it's Buckeye COD up 2-0. Will they take it in a 3-0, or will Marshall University stay alive on this Hacienda control? We'll see you right back in a little bit. Hey, welcome on back, everybody, to College COD. We are kickstarting our day here with a losers quarterfinals match between the Buckeye COD and the Marshall University Herd. As we come on in, it is currently 2-0 for the Buckeye COD after an absolute smashing in the hard point and in round 11 in the search and destroy. We're getting ready to move on in, though, to the Hacienda control, Connie. This series is heating up. Obviously, one last moment right now for Marshall University to show some signs of life.
Absolutely. And in terms of the spread, both teams fantastic in this mode. Buckeye COD are currently 10-2 as it stands. Marshall 11-3. It's about as even as you're going to get in terms of what can come out of this map. But in terms of the bans as well, neither team, especially Buckeye, actually wanted to play Vault. Marshall, they picked Hacienda Control. So I must say, in terms of maybe getting a foot back in the series, the control could be there. Maybe Buckeye have let their foot off the gas because they have a 2-0 lead in map count so far, with just one to convert. Everything lines up for Marshall to find a way back in, but it depends on morale, depends upon the beating so far in the last two maps and that crucial round 11. I think this is going to be quite the biggest question mark to answer. Will Marshall find a way back in? Will Ohio close it out here? It's all about form, all about pace, all about tempo. Let's see what these players bring.
All right, well, let's head on into game here as we get on ready to hop on into the first round of Hacienda Control. It's going to be Marshall University on the first defense here. Buckeye COD on the offense. Looking at specifically Juicy here to really be one of the players to come alive. That's Chut on the backside. We'll be able to get some shots on off. Already a couple of bloods coming on out here. Gimby will be able to hold this top side.
Lovely to see. Only a one life disparity, but control of the points. Buckeye, they're flirting around nicely. Marshall's line's right in the center of the map, and they have got the first line to break for Buckeye. I feel like in this portion as well, what more can be expected? It's a very slow, breathable game thus far for both teams. Only a few engagements. Time now progressing over towards B. And yeah, Buckeye, they're starting to close the fences. The trap's been deployed from Marshall, and they start swarming.
Juicy from the top side finds a huge one. Will get traded on out, though, but Enigma hopefully needs to win this one. Finally, last couple bullets onto action will be there as we move into the 30 seconds of the first round. Marshall not able to get on really to any point just yet. A little bit of progress at B. This Juicy is going to be the one towards this top side. Will get found by Action, who yet again found by Enigma. It's just a straight up trade fest until, well, you got Nico, who's good for 2. And he's been able to make his way here on towards this B side. Only 15 seconds left. You'll go ahead. It's starting to go through. The progress is in. You're losing some key gunfights. Stuski finds 2 towards the top. With 15 seconds remaining, this is what you can need. Enigma, you have to be able to contest here. Flies on forward, finds 1. The B point will get secured, though. A little bit off the mark.
Buckeye, fresh off a respawn. Marshall, positional advantage. They're bulking up together. A beautiful pack of 3 to break the hole. And Marshall now is starting to employ some deadly traps. That's where things start to get a little bit more dissectable. A 15-13 life count, 46 seconds left on the clock. But Buckeye, again, they're cutting the line through the middle. Marshall have got players that play in the hole, play the gaps, and find the kills. It's about now retaining life, and oh, Chut nearly fumbled that, but he just about got away with it.
Oh, I have no idea how you managed to still win that one. Action, though, slides on out, finds 1, immediately cut on down. You got 3 members making their way from Marshall. But it's number 3. Action's actually going to spawn in on a little bit on the outside. Opportunity here to find a timing. Doesn't want to go on through the rest. So you actually might give Chut the opportunity to push on through here, but you jump out through the top. you make your way in onto the point. You're just unable to bring down action. The stack starting to come on through right now for Marshall University. They're going to start getting some of this progress. They get one more ticket A, but Alex Carr, he's good for 2 and unfortunately good for a third. Third's on the teammate though, but still should cull some of the forces here. And just right now, Buckeye caught no opportunity for them to win any of these gunfights.
Absolutely. It's going to be 5 tiers converted, winning on a TDM for Marshall University. I couldn't spin it on the dime any better. I feel like at the 15-15 life count, Marshall, they started going off. There really was a change of tempo. They were sliding beautifully onto the point, and they were managing to get offset timings onto Buckeye. So it was a very difficult opener. And I feel in this position now, Marshall in the driving seat. We saw it in the S&D. We're hoping history doesn't repeat itself here in the control. Can they maintain their form and lead, or Buckeye have the perfect read again? Now, this time around, Marshall on the defensive side, they currently stand on 5 tiers converted. And Buckeye, they're hoping for a victory here on the attack. They need to get both points or tie on 5 to have that ultimate round 5 decider.
Yeah, you'd love to see them just kind of close this one out on some point ticks. So at least that way you can kind of do both, right? Answer back in the round here, but also make sure that you are setting yourself up beautifully for that round number 5. Already some players dropping in the feed right now on the side of Marshall University. You did have a 5 streak from action coming into this round, but that will get cut on down. And so far, already the triple stack comes in at B, and very quickly into the round, B point gets secured. So Marshall, they're going to let just all of this go through. Don't need to throw any lives at it. But a whole extra minute gets added to the clock. You're going to have 2 minutes right now to try and work this A point if you are the Buckeyes. Marshall University, haven't really seen them move too much in this round right here, but it could be for a good reason because you're winning gunfights all across the map. 3 dead in the feed. It's going to send everybody back to spawn. And, well, hopefully you make this read as you have paralysis in this top window. Can you get some shots out?
I feel like Buckeye now want to try and change the life count a little bit here. Marshall are pinned up in the map with different sections. All the players are on an island to themselves. So the overload for Buckeye is there. It's about finding the swing and initiating the next kill. Because positionally, they want to be in Buckeye's spawn, but they just need to find an opener. Action gets a beautiful kill on the south side of the map, and this creates the arrows. They change direction, dart towards the original point, but Marshall lay waiting.
Okay, well, Juicy towards that top side finds a great pickup. Alex Carr gets found. Action gets down. It's just Stuski, last one alive for Marshall here on sort of this first wrap. Right in some good shots here, playing from this top side. No turn right there as Stuski, good for 2. And you see the rest of the teammates get ripped off the point. Buckeye CoD, well, they've been able to secure at least 1 tick. You don't have to tweak just yet. You still have a minute on the clock. Lives are even. So while, yes, you do get ripped on off, you don't have to start doing anything super crazy right now. And I like this. Enigma just maybe trying to clear anybody out from the back, but will get found on out, cut on down. Buckeye CoD just trying to figure out how can they get themselves back under the map.
And the way in which they find their success lies in sticking together. You see the kill there onto Chuck, the north side of the map. Again, this is an offset timing. Marshall actually haven't put an overload anywhere on the map, so Buckeye, realistically on numbers, can find their way through. But it's down to island plays. Beautiful movements from Enigma on the north side. But if you look towards the overall, heat map and where the action is, it's right here in mid. And Buckeye, only a 2 life disparity, and they've got a third already on A. So it's about putting the trap in place where Marshall create the full wipe, and they reposition to try and do the same thing to Buckeye.
Now, last really moment here to try and get in on this point. 10 seconds remaining. You got to fly. You're all 3. You're out here at Rock. You have to get onto the point. Do you manage to make this hop and find the opportunity? Stuski on the bottom is there. That's 3 dead for Marshall. 4th just on the outside. So the stack comes on in. You're here on the point. You win the key gunfights. The Buckeyes, they come back on in. They capture all rounds. They tie this one up onto the 1-1 off a huge offensive round. They'll be up 1 tick, moving back on over towards the defense.
We say it in control quite often, it's mainly if you can win an attacking round, it should be easy conversions. Defense is usually the easiest, but I forget we're playing on Hacienda, Dad. It's the opposite effect. Now you got to try and win the defensive round if you're Buckeye to really control the series. Because I feel like especially when we saw for the opening two, Buckeye only lead by 1 tier, but Marshall exhausted all the lives possible to get Buckeye down to 0, whereas Buckeye's win and attack was more about, you know, creating those holes, punching them at the right time. Set pieces go over towards B as Buckeye reinforced down there. Marshall, they stick it right on A just to keep themselves a little bit more room for the harder point to cap down the line.
Oh, Juicy, though, he's going to be able to have some good shots here as Gimby on the top side finds Alex Carr. So you just barely don't manage to secure that A. Would love to see them kind of hop on and clear that just while you have the opportunity that's here. Don't let them get a free tick just for sliding on into the point, basically. Stewski playing alongside this rock. You find a great opener right now as the Buckeyes. They'd love to take this defensive round. This would be a huge momentum swing for them. As Gimby might have been able to find some sort of timing here. Enigma's at least good for 1 towards the top. And ooh, I like this. You spot check that corner. Unfortunately for you, Action is just a little bit too on the point. So Nico finds themselves on the B side. 1 tick already coming on through. The rest of the team really nowhere near here. And not going to really be able to help you on out, but it's 1 player. Progress slowly but surely make their way on up. Contest will come on through. As yet again, Nico just sticking on this point. Cutting everybody down who dares to try and get close.
This is a big breathing moment here for Gimby. Marshall will still control the B. And the spawns on the north side of the map for both teams mean it's a foot race down to the south. Stewski's trying to put a cut off here as well onto Buckeye. And this could be a crucial play. That's if Juicy can't find him next. And maybe this opening, the final 1v1's Alex Carr on the outside, Dan. How can they open it up with Paralysis flanking around the back?
Oh, you find a great one off the plat. You find another sliding out towards Tin. Paralysis has been the king of B so far. And, well, will help the team be able to hap it. On the offense, you're up 3 kills right now. You've secured the B point. Another minute going in on the clock over towards A. You have to try and find some timings right now. Enigma finds a good one.
This is so much room, isn't it? No one's really engaging yet. Paralysis has got a huge, you know, ticking time bomb position to actually break. Although Action's first movement spins the dial, everyone changes the course of the arrows, and Buckeye, their position in mid, is going to be crucial to keeping Marshall fenced.
Stewski on the top side here, just trying to look down, make sure that there's no opportunity for Buckeye to get into a power position. But it's going to be tough when you have some subs running in underneath. Paralysis will cut them on through. You got a little bit of progress at A. It's the last tick. What can the Buckeyes do to take you off this point? You're going to hop up in this window. A couple of shots coming on through. Nico is good for a huge one. But you will clear this last tick of progress if you are the Buckeyes. Paralysis might be in a strong spot, though. He gets found out by Chut. A huge pickup there. Action sliding on out on this outside.
No way. Buckeye's positioning is a lot more spread. We're down to a 5v5, Dan, and Buckeye have 2/3 of the map in control. Marshall's only hole punch is through the middle, and maybe Buckeye playing extremities here isn't the right play to make. If they want to get into a 5v3, they have to look towards the west side of the map, but the timings are in Marshall's favor.
Oh, a huge stun, though, comes on through, and I love this. You have the backups to play here towards the top. Paralysis will get cut down by Enigma. So you're trying to fly your way on in here. All you need is one last tick. All it takes is a couple of gunfights going your way. Is Action. We'll be the one to slide on out. The Ames is firing. You get found by Juicy. Stewski's been able to make their way on the point, but it doesn't matter. Buckeye CoD able to answer on back. Put us potentially not only on the map point here, but on the series point.
It's a big old round. It's a big old opportunity for Buckeye here to convert. If they replicate their round number 2, we're going to be seeing them in the qualification match. Marshall needs to put pedal to the metal and find some divine inspiration, you know, to change the course of history in this round number 4. And the way in which they find it, I mean, they can't allow Buckeye in this position to have any wiggle room. Albeit the attacking rounds for both teams have been flawless, and Stewski and Action have stepped up to the plate in such a way for Marshall University. But can the Herd find a way? They're going to go towards the south side of the map. They're going to overload it with stuns, and they're going to get that first blood up there and try and punch a hole.
Trades, pinstripe kill feed will come on through. Chut's good for 2. And you win another one. Alex Carr, make sure you don't really get any room on this map right now. Nico will find another one towards the U side, and you are just full sending this rock side if you are Buckeye. But Stuski here, head glitch of the century. Not going to make it easy for you to push on through. And Buckeyes on this first wave, it's gotten a little bit of mixy here. Haven't really gained any space. If you could find paralysis on this flank, this is huge. This helps get some of your players off the spawn. So you're now starting to make your way deeper and deeper into this mat. Enigma will get found on out, but you do have Juicy potentially on a little bit of a flank here.
And this is a lot of room for Buckeye CoD. Alex Carr chases down the kill in tin, but look towards the north side of the map. Oh my, paralysis. Doing everything he can alongside Action just to create this fence, and Buckeye have to funnel through lobby to find a break. The only player that slipped is Enigma. 13 seconds remain on the time. A player touching. Alex Carr still focuses his attention towards the exit. He gets the remaining reinforcements from Buckeye. One last 1v1 to win, and that could be a cleared B. And Marshall, they smash every single lane. Buckeye are cornered in their own spawn.
Yeah. Fortunately, Buckeye, they had the opportunity to put it away here, but just Marshall firing all cylinders on the defense. And then the only thing that has me a little bit worried here, though, is that I believe Buckeye CoD is on the defense, making their way on into this round number 5. So we saw what they were able to do on defense in the last one, but Marshall does feel like they are a little bit more in the driver's seat on this map, on this Hacienda, Connie. I have to be honest with you. It feels like they know how to make these reads. They're cutting down some of these Buckeye CoD players where they need to. That last defense, it just got a little bit too mixy at the end, and I feel like they were able to come out on top, which was great. So Marshall, they have to play this next offensive round clean. I hope I'm correct. No, I'm wrong. Okay, everything I just said, completely wrong. Marshall University, they're actually going to be the ones defense. And after that round we just saw, this doesn't bode well for the Buckeyes.
I mean, I love being surprised too, Jan, but what do Marshall do in this situation? Well, they send 3 players down to the south, they send 3 nades over the top, and Buckeye meet him head on.
Oh, and that's a huge 2-player win right now. Marshall, they'll kind of go ahead, split on up. You go 1 player making their way back towards 10. You find one that's trying to maybe push on through Platt, and Action might have the timing of a century here. Opens that up, finds one. Is it enough for 2? It is. Action CoD able for a solid 2-piece. Will rip the Buckeyes off. You still have Gimby over towards 10 though. Wants to hold this one on through, but it's going to be a little bit of a 2v1. You got to play this here. Even if you manage to get this kill, yeah, Stuski's in the back. We'll be able to find you. It's just basically a series of 1v1s here on the point. You've been able to almost scare point number B, as Enigma still on this top side, just not letting anybody make their way through Platt.
Yeah, Marshall are fenced away from B, but if you look over towards A and what their strategy is, could it be a really long wrap here, Dan? I mean, the arrows and their behavior, they're twitching between ideas. You can just see the main pack trying to decide on an option, but that info call from Paralysis will now divert everyone towards the middle of the map. Action, he's let 2 players slip through the net as they cross through fences, and now we're seeing Marshall, Buckeye on either sides of A. This is where the initiation for the new set of kills begins. Enigma collapses 1 on lobby. Marshall reposition. They cover Fountain. And it's going to be a bit more of a breathable game, especially for a mid-take. Neither team committing to a heavy positional change. But Alex Carr's too. That's control for Marshall.
Yeah, Alex Carr, a little bit of patience there. Nets you a fat reward. A great 2-piece. For you to be able to just secure a lot of this middle ground space. The Buckeyes, they trying to figure out what do they want to do here. You have Chut in that backside. If you can manage to find Alex Carr off the spawn or even Paralysis, this is huge. But unfortunately, you slide on out a little bit too active here. And Paralysis from this bottom side, you will be able to have the guns firing. But Juicy finds 2. Enigma brings down Stuski. It's just Action here. Slow progress on the A site. But you would love to hop this right now. If you are the Buckeyes, you do. Tick number 1 goes on through fast. Tick number 2, it's there. Tick number 3 is cooking. You got to find some kills. The pistol from Action, it's going, but you slide on out. That's 4 dead for the Buckeyes. You had an opportunity to maybe close it away, but unfortunately you just get found some shots in the back. It's just not there. You gotta kind of start setting yourself up here for another attack. All you need is one wave of kills to drop your way as 1 tick remaining.
And Buckeye, they punched the hole for the north side. Actions died, meaning 2 players can get on in. And now it's down to Alex Carr and Stuski to get the players off the hill. But there is no room. There is no time. Buckeye CoD, an emphatic 3-0 finish. Marshall, no responses in the closing moments. A devastating 4-piece right at the end. Try and salvage room and time for the final third to go their way. But Juicy, the man of the hour, the action man, he finds the answers to any question that might have been asked.
Yeah, I think that was just an absolute huge play from Juicy at the end there to be able to make that one happen. A couple of stat lines, very, very interesting here. I mean, you had Chut with the 18 and 31, absolutely wild. Really, really crazy stuff. But man, I mean, this series overall did not disappoint all the way from this first hard point on Protocol. This is, I think, where we really saw the Buckeyes come alive and really kind of showcase their prowess. Unfortunately, though, this was the only map that they looked absolutely insane on.
Absolutely. And I feel like the series itself, Frio, you know, we got to the search and destroy and this control. Marshall were much more evenly matched, but at the same time, it was Stuski and Alex Carr. I feel like the 2 ARs of Marshall were simply emphatic. They played all the micro details down to perfection, but Buckeye's set strategy, they stuck to it. And I feel like when you have more refined ideas and you're, you know, passionately dedicated to following them for every situation, Buckeye were the epitome of it. Marshall were a lot more diverse. They were more default oriented around the ideas, but I feel like the ARs, you know, you can't say that they weren't bad or they weren't good, but really, I feel like Alex Carr, Stuski, they were the standouts for me, especially in the losing team of Marshall. Those two are really impressive.
Yeah, Buckeye CoD, they come out swinging in the hard point. It feels like, though, on that search and destroy and control, Connie, it feels like they almost got away with it on a couple of those, right? Like, it gets really scrappy. It's really kind of goes all the way towards the end in both of those. Buckeye CoD just narrowly take it out. But at the end of the day, it's a 3-0. And that's all we care about, right? So they'll be able to move on in the bracket. I believe, let me just double check here. They'll move on forward to face Fisher College, who they're going to be on a little bit of a revenge tour today as well. Hopefully get some just desserts for their sister team, the Fisher Falcons, who did drop to Buckeye CoD as well. And they're going to be looking to potentially secure their spot on land. Some really good stuff here out of both of these teams here today. But you got any final moments, any closing thoughts here, Connie, on our first series of the College CoD Day?
Oh, it's emphatic, and I love working with you, Dan. Your energy, your vibes, your enthusiasm, simply gorgeous. A one of one and a man that I'm truly inspired by. As well, Oklahoma Christian, Newbury College, their game's still going on. Oklahoma currently 2-1 up against Newbury, and if they win, they're against Mars Hill. So I feel like now the qualification matches, that's where the spice is. That's where everything lies, and that's what truly is going to be the defining moment in College CoD.
No, I mean, we got a lot coming on through. We're kind of waiting to see what this next series is going to cook on up. We got, like Connie just mentioned, a couple bangers going on in the background. So we're waiting on some of the results of those to be able to have this next series coming on up. But I know whatever it is, when we look at this bracket, a couple of these teams that are still here fighting for their chance at that land qualification, every single one of them is talented. So huge congratulations to Buckeye CoD, making it one level deeper in that bracket. But it's not done yet. You got to go up against Fisher College here in a moment. So hopefully we got some couple games coming on through. This will be very, very good. But with that being said, that's going to be our first series of the day here on College CoD. We're going to go ahead, cut to a break, and when we come back, we are going to have our next series rolling underway.